blow. The German forces assembled along the Western Front were divided into three army groups. In the north was Army Group B, commanded by 55-year-old General Fedor von Bock, a First World War hero who came from a long-established military family. His forces were 18th Army, facing Holland, and 6th Army, facing northern Belgium. Army Group B totaled 29 divisions, 3 of which were armoured and 2 motorised. Amongst these formations were 4,500 paratroops and 1 airborne light infantry division. These units would play a key role in the coming offensive. Extending from Liège to Luxembourg was Army Group A under General Karl von Rundstedt, one of the Wehrmacht's most resourceful and flexible-minded commanders. A general since 1927, Rundstedt was highly respected within the army. His command was made up of 4th Army, 12th Army, and 16th Army. Altogether, Army Group A mustered 35 infantry divisions. Its key units, however, were the 7 armoured and 3 motorised divisions which would form the vanguard of the attack. Nearly all of Germany's heavy panzers had been allotted to this massive armoured phalanx. In the south, deployed opposite the Maginot Line, was Army Group C, commanded by Colonel General Ritter von Leeb. Having left the army in 1938, he had been recalled from retirement on the outbreak of war. Army Group C's formations were drawn from 7th Army on the east bank of the Rhine and 1st Army in Lorraine. It had a fighting strength of 19 infantry divisions. Added to the ground forces was the formidable striking power of Hermann Göring's Luftwaffe. A prominent World War I flying ace, Göring had risen to be the highest-ranking Nazi after Hitler himself. The Luftwaffe had over 3,000 planes committed to the Western Offensive. Army Groups A and B were each supported by a self-contained air fleet, comprising fighters, bombers, and reconnaissance aircraft. The Stuka dive bombers, which would provide close support artillery for the armour, remained under the centralised control of Göring. The Germans maintained a reserve strength of 42 divisions, of which 2 were motorised. This reserve was under the direct command of the Commander-in-Chief, General Walter von Brauchitsch. The Supreme Allied Commander, General Maurice Gamelin, had his headquarters at the Château de Vincennes on the outskirts of Paris. Gamelin had chosen Vincennes so that he could be close to his political masters, but it was nearly 100 miles from the front. It did not even possess a radio communications centre. From this distant ivory tower, Gamelin surveyed the Allied forces poised to meet the German onslaught. On the extreme left, from the North Sea to Bayeux, was the French 7th Army under General Henri Giraud. 60 years old, Giraud was considered one of France's ablest generals. His army consisted of 7 elite divisions, including 2 motorised infantry and 1 light mechanised division. Next in line came the British Expeditionary Force under Lord John Gort. Though subordinate to Gamelin, Gort had the right of appeal to his own government before carrying out any order which imperilled his force. The British Expeditionary Force's position stretched from Bayeux to Molde, It included 9 infantry divisions and 1 tank brigade, as well as supporting units. From Mulde to the western end of the Maginot Line was Army Group 1 under General Biot. Biot would also be given the responsibility of liaising with the Belgian forces. Army Group 1 consisted of 1st Army, 9th Army and 2nd Army. These formations comprised 21 divisions in all, including 14 infantry, 3 motorized infantry and 6 light mechanized divisions. Holding the Maginot Line itself was Army Group 2 under General Prételat. Prételat's command numbered 4 armies, totaling some 44 divisions, one of which was British. The French General Reserve consisted of 22 divisions, including all 3 armoured divisions and 2 motorised infantry divisions. Of this total, 7 divisions, including 2 armoured, were earmarked for Army Group 1. Another 5 infantry divisions were allotted to guard against a possible German strike through Switzerland. The French Air Force's planes were deployed in so-called zones of air operations, corresponding to the boundaries of the different army groups. The French Air Force numbered some 1,200 planes, comprising bombers, fighters, and reconnaissance craft. These were reinforced by 350 planes of the RAF. To the north, the Dutch army mustered 8 divisions with 2 more in reserve, and the Belgian army fielded 18 divisions with an extra 4 in reserve. At sunrise on May the 10th, waves of Luftwaffe bombers struck at roads, railways and airfields in Holland, Belgium and France. While the Dutch frontier defences were being attacked to the east, thousands of German paratroops and airborne troops were dropped over the key cities of Rotterdam and The Hague. These troops took the Dutch defenders completely by surprise and succeeded in capturing and holding the vital bridges on the Rhine until the mobile ground forces could come up. It was the first major attempt in history to conquer a country from the air, and the success of the airborne operation was vital to the whole invasion's outcome. To disguise the small numbers of their airborne troops, the Germans adopted the ruse of dropping dummy parachutists at scores of locations, effectively creating the impression of overwhelming numbers. The trick also helped spread panic and confusion amongst defending forces. The attack against Belgium was also spearheaded by paratroops, whose objectives were the 2 main bridges over the Albert Canal and the key fortress of Ebene-Mael. The fortress was the linchpin of Belgium's main line of defence. It dominated the Albert Canal, the main roads leading west, and the vitally important high bridges over the canal. Built between 1932 and 1936, it was regarded as the strongest fort in the world. Measuring 900 yards by 700, its fortifications were a tight complex of mutually supporting artillery and infantry installations. A series of forts with observation posts, searchlights and machine guns was linked together by a network of tunnels. The only access to the network was through Fort 17. There were turrets with twin revolving cannon, retractable cannon, and rapid fire guns. There were also anti-aircraft machine guns and dummy positions. On its northeastern side, a steep slope plunged 40 meters to the Albert Canal, providing complete security.